To begin with today, I would like to say thank you once again for your willingness to watch these videos. As you can see in front of me, there's some diversity going on here. The flashing red heart lights on this nicely decorated old pickup. It is early February, soon to be Valentine's Day. The tapestry behind shows boats and lake and must be summertime. We have seasons, we have cycles, and today I'm going to begin a 4-part series due to the fact that I experience cycles as part of my own life, but also as part of my vocation. Some of you watching may know that my vocation for over 40 years has been involved in spiritual life or church life or religious life, and my particular branch or branches of Christianity have followed a cycle called a church year calendar. And you're going to see just a couple photos here coming up of that church year calendar. But what it is it goes through seasons and cycles. In the particular denominations that I've been a part of, the season of Lent, which is, if you look back on that picture, kind of is under the purple coloration there for the church year. It's a time of preparation. It's a time of introspection as we move toward the major holiday of Christian tradition, that being Easter. In my early days of being a pastor, the season of Lent was often shared with neighboring congregations. Starting in northwestern North Dakota, a group of 5 or 6 of us would get together and set a theme, and each of us would take a particular aspect of that theme, and then we would go to the different churches during Lent. There'd be extra services on Wednesday night, and we had the opportunity to see other people in other congregations, and we only had to prepare one extra sermon. In my current setting at Hillsboro United Parish, that Lenten tradition is a part of their history. However, when the pandemic hit, things changed. When I came here, the Lenten tradition was to have Wednesday night services, but to have them at the local assisted and skilled care living center in Hillsboro. But the pandemic shut all of that down. What then took its place was a request to have weekly devotionals written and then emailed or sent out by the postal service so people could keep that kind of Lenten reflection tradition going on. Well, that continues this year as well, because even though we're kind of coming out of the pandemic, we still have some restrictions going on, and this opportunity to send out reflections strikes a larger number of people. And so, as what I'm doing here with this series of 4 videos is to look a little bit, not to do those particular written reflections, but to kind of supplement them in some ways and maybe to capture a little greater audience. As I was finishing up college in the late 1970s, so over 40 years ago, the book of Ecclesiastes was introduced to me. And it came at an opportune time as I was wrapping up college, wondering what I was going to do and what was my career path, and wondering what purpose there was in life. And so, as this series will look at, and the title of this one, Fill Her Up, I was wondering what was going to fill up the rest of my life. That idea of wisdom, that idea of what is life about? Is it static or is it moving? Is it linear, going on a path, or is it cyclical? So what fills our lives? What filled my life? Well, graduate school. And even during that time, I was really wondering what it was that made life have meaning. And I was trying to fill myself up, but I didn't fill myself up too well, because the things that I was filling myself with didn't satisfy, and in many ways made me sick, not just physically and emotionally, but it made my outlook about myself a bit poisoned. So as time continued, parish ministry became part of my life, and I was married about the same time, so those things should have been filling: a relationship, a job, opportunities, and indeed they were, but yet that idea of things being moving, things being somewhat cyclical at times. I was wondering what was next, what was the next move, how was I going to fill my career, because that seemed to be vitally important. And we all know that, because coming into the pandemic as well as coming out of the pandemic, coming into it, shelves were empty and we were grabbing everything we could, and where were we going to get enough paper products to get us through the next few weeks or months? We needed to have our cupboards filled, and yet the shelves of the store were empty. And now we're on the other side of the pandemic, and we worry about supply chains, and there's not being enough automobiles, or it's being a shortage of other goods, and there's being inflation. What's the meaning? How are we going to fill ourselves up? I think it's rather interesting that we spend so much time trying to be filled, and yet the things that fill us at times do not satisfy us. So as we come into this season of introspection, or in that, as I mentioned earlier, the Christian calendar, the season of Lent, I ask more questions than I have answers, and maybe that's what's happened over the course of my time. Instead of seeking answers, I seek questions. What fills us up? What fills me up? Or do we need to be filled up? Is it all right, if you want to say, to be somewhat empty, looking for that which is unique, looking in different perspectives in different places? If you look at my career path over 40 plus years, has it gone up and up and up? Well, I'm getting to a point where I could retire, and I guess I'm semi-retired. Do I have enough to live on? Sure, I do. Am I satisfied with my life? Yeah, because I can't go back and change it. So, do we need to fill it? Or, as I find, it's more fun to explore, to look at new opportunities, to talk to new people, to find out what life is from other people's perspectives. Will I ever be filled? I doubt it. One of the things I try to fill myself with sometimes, if I really get on a binge, are my great love of Cheetos, especially the crunchy ones. But talk about making you sick and not feeling good if you eat too many of them. Maybe the idea of fullness is a bit misguided. So something to ponder, something to think about, and as I said in the beginning, and I'll say again now, thank you for watching.